Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica, one people, one legacy.
Good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Track and Field Business. And of course, with me tonight is Coach's Desk. We are collaborating tonight just to talk about some things that are happening. It's 2026, and already the talk is on track and field meets are being scaled down, track and field meets are being canceled. How will this affect our legacy? But before we get into it, I just want to say welcome to each and everyone, wherever in the world you are, whether you're in Europe, you're in Africa, you're in Asia, you're in North America, South America, wherever you are in the world, Antarctica, Oceanic, welcome to another night. Country living, good night to each and everyone. Josiah, wherever you are, welcome to each and every one. Coach Minzy, good night. Happy New Year, sir. How are you?
Happy New Year to you too. I'm doing well. Big up to the viewers and subscribers who take the time out to join us in this episode. I'm looking forward to the discussion, and also looking forward to hear what the folks are saying in the chat room.
Indeed. And this conversation has been going on for maybe 2 weeks now, since the announcement of the cancellation of I think it started with the Milo Western Relay, right? And then it's a trend. It just kept going, and I decided that, look, we need to talk about this because we are fans, we're sports fans. We are very much invested in this. So we just want to share our 2 cents. But let me ask you, Coach, what is really going on? Racers Grand Prix is canceled, Milo Western Relay, Grace Jackson meet, the Gibson McCook Relay scaled down. Your thoughts, how do you think this will change the meets in 2026, the development and the development of our young athletes?
I don't think the cancellation of the meets will, probably derail our development. I think more so what the hurricane did, and in the western side of the island, people are scampering to get the kids out to practice, to get them training and all of that. I think that is more devastating than the cancellation of the meet, in my estimation. There are several reasons why the meets have been cancelled, whether it is stadium development or track development, let me use that term. Also, too, you have to look at the finances because of what the hurricane did to Jamaica. Then that would have caused, some sponsors possibly to back out of the whole sponsoring track meet and stuff like that. So there are a plethora of things that really cause these meets to be cancelled. It's devastating from our standpoint, knowing that Jamaicans, or the few Jamaicans that love track and field, this is hard hit on them. And for the kids in Western, it's really tough on them right now. People have to be walking very far to go to practice. You have some schools are on shift. So if you're not at school today, then how are you going to practice? So there are so many things happening. This hurricane that passed is a big deal breaker to several things, and I don't think it is only track and field. I think it is the way of life for some folks, and it's really devastating. But I definitely believe that because this is an off year, it will not be that impactful on many areas. It's just the western section. Um, there are replacement meets for the Grace Jackson. I think one of the reasons why, especially the Milo, is because of the unavailability of GC Foster, because it will be undergoing some sort of renovation or redevelopment. And you can understand that that track has been laid for several years. And if we want good performances, we have to have these upgrades. So I welcome that. If we have to, cancel a track meet for that to happen, then by all means, let it happen.
But let me ask you something, Coach. When we look at a lot of the track meets over the years, let's say over the last 10 years or so, is it really the hurricane? Because I know that some of them, it is funding. Funding is a big part of some of them. Is it really the hurricane, though, why we're seeing this kind of pull out in terms of organizers are saying we're not going to have this meet this year? Let us take, for example, the racers meet. Last year, the racers meet was struggling to get funding to have that meet. Is this really about financials, or it is more about administrative strategies?
Money makes the world go round, right? So I
Right,
more so would lean to the financial section of it, because if you don't have money, you can't put on a meet. If you don't get the sponsors on board, you can't put on a meet. There are several things that happen when the sponsors are on board, though, which I don't want to delve in, because I don't want to put myself in any problems. Because when you look at, say, for example, what the government would have contributed to the Racers Grand Prix, that's a tremendous amount. It might not be as significant as we might think. However, it really stops a gap. But with what happened where the hurricane is concerned, then the government had to, refocus and put all, which in my estimation could still, but you have to look at the aesthetics. You're having a
right.
track meet and people down that side not, you know. So I think it makes sense, quote unquote, but it still not makes sense, quote unquote, if you understand what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, you want to use the sports as a vehicle to get back people's mental space, but at the same time, you can't be having a trap meet, pumping so much money into it, and then folks down the Western, they're not with certain necessities. You get what I'm saying? So I do believe that it has a way in that it can go both sides. But yes, I do believe it's the finances. I think management of these meets definitely will come after. It's not so much the management. Bad management could cause sponsors to pull out, of course, but without the monies, then I mean, there's no meat. There's, if the sponsors don't want to have any money to put towards something like this, then you can't have no meat. It's as simple as that.
Coach, one of the things that I've observed over the years and I hope people listen and understand where I'm coming from, but I have been watching track and field for many, many years. I've been attending track and field meets. And one of the things I realize is that we do not market our events. The track and field events in Jamaica They are not marketed. So because of that, it is just the diehard fans that will go out to these meets. People like you, like me, people who are into the sport. But what about other people who are not really into track and field, but you need to get them into the arena to also be a part of what is happening? And that is something I have observed over the years. I've heard people asking, when is this meet? When is that meet? And people like us with the data, we can say, okay, Gibson is normally the last Saturday in February. That has been on the calendar for a long, long time. But I think, personally, I think there's money out there, but we are not doing the work to tap into that money to get some of that money. And that is one of the things that I've seen where track meets in Jamaica, they are not marketed. So people who are not into the sport, they don't know anything about these events. They don't know when they are coming. And it is causing, and I think that is one of the reasons why people are not turning up. But let me ask you something. I have a question for you.
Before you ask the question, while I agree with
Sure.
that statement from you, there's also a side of Jamaicans, whether you're a business mogul or whatever entities. I think it's very, very, very like probably a few of these entities really support sports in Jamaica. So, you can name probably on a few fingers the amount of sponsors you might have when it comes on to sport. And I'm going to single out track and field because that's what we're talking about. You have some long-standing supporters of track and field, but are they many? And then that burden will always be on them. And I agree with you that the sport is not being marketed. And if you're not in the know, uh, but then again, you have a lot of what you call it, content creators out there now that are actually giving up dates. They're actually, telling people that this meet is coming up. When the meet end, they tell you what transpired in the meet. So you have people that are actually doing that. I think that is a part of the marketing. And possibly the content creators do it more often than the persons responsible for these meets. You know what I mean? And several people are going social media. And one thing I recognize is that a lot of people that follow track and field, they are the more mature folks. And how many of them really are computer savvy or smartphone savvy to really know where to go and find these stuff? You know what I mean? So I think one of the pushback is that the sponsors or the potential sponsors, they don't really like to support the sport, because I mean, if you're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a particular brand, you are expected to get that return. And quite frankly, it possibly is not happening for some of these people. Only a handful of people really are ardent fans of track and field, and it's just sad.
I if you have two products, I guarantee you that the one that you market the most, the one that you tell people about the most, is the one that will sell the most. And I have looked at our track and field meets, and every year they look the same. The script is the same. There's nothing different about and we have to remember that the generations, everything is changing. And if you're having an event, one of the main thing you have to do, you have to hype up your event. If you don't hype up your event, nobody's going to come. You have to create hype around your event. Give people a reason to come out. You have to sell the story of your event. It's not just a meet. Sell that story. I mean, you can even have simple tagline as "Come and see future Olympians before the world see them. Simple taglines to sell your brand. Create clashes. Right now, one of the biggest clash that is coming up is going to be the 300 meters that I see that they're hyping up with Noah Lyles and Norman and a few other athletes. So you have to be creating a buzz, you have to make it an experience for people who are not into the sport. Another thing that we can do is people go out in a group, create group pass for people. Everybody and them friends have a WhatsApp group. Anybody right now who is not in a WhatsApp group, something is wrong.
But
Create
but but
create
but but
create
but, but
create little things that will pull people out in their posse.
while I
You
understand
know,
that too, I certainly understand what you're saying. But what is the product? You're going to a small, say for example, a Gibson relay. What are they going to highlight as a matchup that
uh,
people are going to really be interested to see?
all
Be
right.
honest.
A year ago, more than a year ago, I said something on this show that if I was one of the organizers or a part of the organizing committee for the Gibson McCook Relay, the Gibson McCook Relay is a big brand. And I said it about, if it's not last year, it's 2024, I said it. If I was a part of that organizing team, I would have created a relay clash and I would have named them Team Shelly, Team Elaine, Team Sharika. Now, to get this done, of course, you would have to talk to all three of them. Team. You understand? Name the teams and let them pick the people that they want on their team and create a buzz around it. Come and
Is
see
is
our
that
Olympian. And is
is is that for the seniors or the juniors? Because remember, the Gibson relay is more so around the juniors, you know.
Yeah, but we have the seniors there. So you need to find something. You need to find a pull. A pull is what you want. So you use, and that's just an example. We could even say, come and see Calabar's best against Kingston College best, JC.
Mm-hmm.
Create something, say something, put something in the minds of people for them to say, hey, look, some clashes are going to go on at Gibson this year. You know, I want to be there. But if every year you're just quiet
Yeah.
about your event and if people turn up, they turn up, I mean, that cannot work anymore. There are so many things happening in the world that people can be doing. The smartphones, people can be at home watching Netflix, watching whatever. So you have to find a poll for your event so that you can get people to come out of their house and come and watch. And when I talk about Team Shelly, Team Elaine, Team Sharika, that was just one example that I think could pull people to the Gibson McCook Relay. I mean, even set up a team from the Bahamas, Shawnee Miller team versus Jamaica's best in the 4x4. We have to do something. It cannot be the same thing every year. People are going to get bored and say, well, it's the same thing. I'm not going to go, because that's what people are saying now. People are calling me up and saying, boy, track and field are dead in a Jamaica. There's no energy into it anymore. And that was why I called you up and said, look, let us have this talk tonight, because we are also track and field fans.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
thoughts?
yeah, you're right. You have to add a little flavor to it. There's a saying that says you can't do the thing the same way and expect a different result.
Exactly.
So quite frankly, I totally agree with you. I see somebody in the chat talking about Gibson. I've always had the 60 meters, and it's always interesting, to be honest. But that alone, and you're doing it every year that way, and like you said, in the promotion, talk up so much up, and it probably it's a thing with track and field, you know. Probably it's a thing with track and field. It's more of a quiet sport. It's more of you're being reserved or introverted. I mean, you know, here the athletes talking, yo, HP, watch me, I want to book up on your track. A spikes teeth, you go see. We're
Yeah.
not getting
Mm-hmm.
those type of conversation. We're not
Mm-hmm.
getting any interest, no
Yeah.
flavor.
No
The, the, the,
energy,
the
nothing.
taste is just bland. You
Flat.
know what I mean?
Yes. Now
So
you get where I'm going. Yep.
I
Yep.
certainly agree with you. I was speaking to a good friend of mine, and the person was saying the track and field meets them boring.
Yeah.
Nothing
Mm-hmm.
different, nothing you'd say that will spark the interest. I mean, for the die-hearted track and field fans, they're going to be there anyways. But
Yeah. Uh-huh.
if you're thinking about encouraging new supporters of the sport, then you have to look into those innovations. It can't be a one way.
Mm-hmm.
We need
Mm-hmm.
two roads now have four lanes. You can't have a one-way street when
Yeah.
the thing evolve. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yo, some things need to be done. One thing I know, I believe that, and this is no knock at anyone. I'm just saying, I believe a lot of old minds are in the sport. They are the ones in control, and they don't like changes. They are not going to go out on the limb to say this, to try this, to do this. It's just one way for them, you know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to clap the persons who actually came up with the idea to change or alter Gibson Relay, because trust me, one meet cancel long. No, sir. I'm glad to them change it.
I'm glad that you touch on that. I'm going to tell it straight up. I'm not happy because I'm looking at it not just from the fans' enjoyment, which for me, Gibson Relay has always been a full day carnival where I go with my friends, I hang out, I meet new people, I chat with people, we drink, we have a drink, we hang out, we eat food, and all that kind of thing all day. So that I used to look forward to. But the other thing that we have to take into consideration, when you look at the list, let us look at the invitee list. When you look at the invitee list, coach, is the same schools you're seeing for class 1 4x1, class 2 4x4, class 3 4x, and so what about the newly developed? Every year we have emerging teams, we have emerging athletes. How are they going to get an opportunity to come and showcase what they have? The class 1 boys 100 4x1 is Calabar, Clarendon College, Edwin Allen, Excelsior, Kingston College, Jamaica College, Stets, and St. George's. Class 2 boys, Calabar again, Edwin Allen, Excelsior, JC, KC. So you find that it is the same schools that is going to get the opportunity. What are we doing?
But it's not really only about opportunity, you know. It's about you earning your way. I do agree that how they go about selecting the team or teams for the competition, there might be a flaw there, because you select the teams that competed last year and made it to the finals. That's how they pretty much do it.
Right,
I
and
mean,
Track Hero is asking the question. This will be biased now because which top 8 teams? The top 8 from last year.
the top 8 from last year, they have selected. But I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine too, and the mindset that that individual had was that you could probably select 5 teams from last year, but leave a 3 space open for an emerging team, like I said before. You know, a team that you would probably see that is doing well, and you want to bring them a part of the thing. Or you could have the 4x1s invite 16 teams, and then you have heats and final for the 4x1, rather than just select those teams, because there's no equity, so to speak. I can understand where they're coming from, but there's no equity when you just select everybody from last year. So
It's
there are a lot of things. I
Let me
like the
tell you.
format though. I like the format. Why?
4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
The thing was too drawn out. Madness.
Um, let
You know,
me let
COVID,
me.
hold on, HP. You know, COVID showed us that the track meet them never have to draw out, so
Yeah,
COVID
but
showed us that,
what we
and they
have to
were still properly run,
but people were
exciting meets
still
as well.
no, but coach, listen this now. People were still left out. Athletes train all year for this, and a lot of them will be left out. Yesterday, just yesterday, a coach called me. A coach called me almost in tears, saying, "Boy, HP, me no know you're gone, me no know you're gone, because the sport look like it are dead. Because right now I am annoyed because I mean, how what are we going to do to ensure that the smaller schools or the smaller teams are a part of the party? We are leaving them out. Athletes rely on a lot of these local competitions for exposure. A lot of them now get to go to champs, A lot of them will not
Yeah,
get to
and
go to
and I
champs.
and I agree with that. But when you talk about exposure, Gibson Relay, yes, does that because um what we used to do is to use Gibson Relay as an avenue or a springboard to really see how we are going to set up our team for champs. So some people use it for that reason. And then you talk about the small teams. This year might be a little bit different because, of course, again, several of these small teams are not in a state where they probably can find a 4x1 or a 4x4.
We should have given them the opportunity, because I'm sure in their
No,
community,
HP is not only just opportunity. You know, remember this?
give
Several of
them
these
this
schools
give them
not
the
practicing,
choice.
but they're not training.
We don't know that. We don't. Which school not
I, I,
training?
I
Tell me which
know
school not training.
I know several of these
Which
big
school?
they yeah, ask me, I may answer you. Several of these big schools they are training. However, not all their cohort of athletes are there.
And I agree to that. I understand that. But what I am saying, give everybody a level playing field to let them decide, okay, I will not be there this year, or I cannot be there. But there are teams who would have loved to be there, but because of the selection process, they are out.
I agree with the format. Totally agree with the format. The thing, as something when me work at it, man, I me tell us the long everlasting day. Listen, when I just have a problem with how them select the teams for it. But this is good for track and field. You know, see two um teams in a one heat, and you see the lane them spread out. That was a joke thing, man. Joke. I like the format. I like it. A matter of fact, I was talking to a coach as well, and he indicated that initially that was how Gibson Relay was. So it's like
Many, many, many years ago.
yeah, many years ago. I wasn't afraid to that aspect of Gibson Relay because I've used to the whole everlasting thing
All day carnival.
all day, you know. But I mean, I trust me, I have no problem with the format. How they select the teams, that is where I could have a challenge.
There's a comment that says, but if them are beating stick for years, how do you want them to be selected in the top 8 invites? Let me tell you, I'm a different human being. I believe that nobody should be left behind. That's just how I operate. And if you're having a competition, allow people to be a part of it, even if they're eliminated. But at the end of the day, it is their experience, and I understand. I don't even know how this will help the event. A few years ago, Penn Relays, the organizers remove USA versus the world from Penn's, and I can tell you that Relay Carnival is not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. So sometimes, we really have to And I don't have a problem with change. I don't have a problem with change. But in this case, because can you imagine one of the relay carnival is cancelled and the other one is scaled down?
And there's a valid reason why one is cancelled.
No, but the point I'm trying to make, even if some people who wasn't selected for Gibson, they would have had an opportunity to go to the Western Milo Western Relay with their team. And we know that that is a facility problem and is a long time now. The facility in Montego Bay has been shut down. That facility is out of commission for a long time now. Now, Milo Western Relay is a St. James product, is a Western region product, and that product should not be coming to Central Jamaica any at all.
All right. Somebody's saying that you just said that we should promote the meets based on top flight rivalries and competition. How no you want it to be inclusive?
This
Can't
person,
eat your cake and have it.
no, that person is missing the point. What I'm saying, if you're having a party, all right, you're having a session and you have 5 DJs, promote the party around your 2 big DJs. Simple. Find a pole and pull the people in. So if I'm having a party right now and I'm going to use Kurt Riley, Crazy Chris, Weepo, Billy Slaughter, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the 2 or 3 big names in that pool to pull out my people to come to that party. And of course, when you come to the party, you're going to see other DJs. So that was what I was talking about when I said to promote the event. Use something that is big in the event to promote the event. So just to make that clear.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you like to see the preliminary rounds at the World Championship and the Olympic Games?
Yes. I, as a fan, love to see it because it is giving other countries that don't have the caliber of athletes that Jamaica, the United States, and certain countries have a chance. So it would have been the same way if Jamaica did not have the caliber of athletes and we could have only find one person where one male that is running 10-9 or 10-5. Yeah, I would love to see my Jamaican colors go. If you even run in the preliminary round and get knocked out, I think everybody should get an opportunity. And this is why you have preliminary, you have rounds, you eliminate as you get to the top 8 in the world. But I'm just saying there are schools, there are teams out there who are hurting because of this decision, and we're not looking at those people. That's all I'm saying. Think about your son or your daughter at one of these schools and they do track and their team is out. And think about another thing. A school, when you look at the list, a school might just be in one event. Why should I spend money to come to the Gibson Relay with just 4 or 5 athletes for one event? Why should I charter a bus from Montego Bay, from St. Elizabeth, from Manchester with just my class 3 team or my class 2 team? Any?
You're asking.
Yes, I'm asking that question. Yes.
All right. Let me put back this to you. Why do I charter a bus all the way from Petersfield to come to Kingston just to do the preliminary round?
No, but remember, you might be doing. But you might have 4 teams. You might have a class 1 team, a class 2 team.
Hold on. It's not me. Remember, it's my question. One team.
One team? Why would you pay one? No, but what I'm saying, how many schools, if you look at most of the schools that come to Gibson, them have more than one team. Stop it, coach. Stop it.
More than and name
more than one teams. They have more than one teams. They have more than one team. All of them have more than one team. They have girls team. If a co-ed school, they have girl teams and boys team. If it's an all-boys school, they more likely have from class 3 to class or class 4. I think class 4 boys run. And but the point I'm trying to make is that you are having, let's say it's an all boys school, and you're
Mm-hmm.
having, is how many relays? 7 relays for the boys. You have 4 sprint relays class. You have the medley 5. You have the 4x4 6. You have the 4x8 7. 7 relays for the boys. And you're going to tell me that one team, only my class 4 team or my class 3 team, I must charter a vehicle and carry only that one team and leave my entire team at home.
Why
I
not?
think I think we have to find a better way to ensure that everybody is included. I don't know how it will look, and I really and truly, I don't know. I just think that we are pushing out emerging talent. If you remember, every year different teams come up, whether a 4x1 team, a 4x4. I, I don't know. It just Track Hero is saying, I think Herbert will go and Mount Alverna based on last year's result. They have a large team. All right, Track Hero. Let us look at the 4x1s. The 4x1s have Kingston College, Jamaica College, and Calabar is in most of them. For class 1 boys, only 3 teams from outside of Kingston. Clarendon College, Edwin Allen, and Stets. Class 2 boys, only Edwin Allen, Petersfield, and Stets. Class 3 boys, Stets, Manchester, and that's it. Class 4 boys, Bustamante, Herbert, Morrison, and the Manchester High. No, look at that. Look at that.
You know, again, in terms of you speaking on, everybody should be included. So it's a holistic approach in development. I can remember days at the primary school championship. They used to have everybody from all nook and cranny of Jamaica coming to this meet. One. And you probably have, everybody wants to do the 100 meters or the 60 meters for the younger classes. And you pretty much stay there the whole day, and then you have to take your bus and carry these kids back to these parts of the island. And everybody was talking about inclusion, 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 which I can understand because at that level it's about development. At Champs is about development too, but several coaches don't see it that way. They'll tell you that they are paid to win Champs or championship, right? No, it was just so overbearing to have these kids in the sun waiting to run for hours, right? And you know what they implemented? They implemented a situation where they have a county meets, or you have central, western, and eastern championship. So you would eliminate all of the athletes coming together at one meet. So in order to have inclusion, I believe if the because I do like the format, but can we have lead up meets to this championship where you have probably other relays running, and then the best probably 16 times go into the the final day of Gibson, which is the Gibson McCook relay, that big
That's
day.
a good idea.
And then you have all of them competing. So you have the top 16 because you want some sort of competition before you reach the final. So you have a top 16 going up against each other, and then the best 8 goes to the final. So when you talk about inclusion, there has to also be innovation. You can't just always carry everybody at the one well to drink water. Some people still not get no water.
True.
So you have to be able to dominate at your level or your area
Yeah.
so that you can be at the big dance, so to speak. So go on na your local party, them your local street party, and then you come a stadium, which is the big dance. So
Yeah.
something like that could also aid
I love that,
in
coach. I love
inclusion.
that. Yeah.
So it's not only about, because when you have everything
On the
in
one day.
one plate, it's gonna be too overbearing. And I'm telling you, over
Yes.
10 years, may I do this thing.
Good. And that was why I asked a question earlier that was why I said we need to do something to ensure that nobody is left behind. And I like that idea that you have. I love what you said. Let them qualify in regional meets.
Yeah.
And then from there, you pick the top 16 and have a runoff and the top 8. And that is a very good idea. That is inclusion. That is a good idea. That's a good
Right.
idea.
But for them
Yeah.
to be at the one place, it can be chaotic. It can cause a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't have to be.
we,
Yeah.
when we talk about inclusion, it doesn't have to be in one bucket or one
Yes.
well. It can be several of these small pockets of water catchment area, and then you move to that big well whenever the time comes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think that is something that can be done. Uh Look at champs itself. Remember, they used to have everybody competing at champs, but there is, and that was inclusion, but they realized that it just can't work. So there's now a qualifying standard for you to be a champs, which makes a
Yes.
whole lot of
Oh,
sense.
yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
it still have these athletes from the schools that might seem like they are not traditional schools. They are competing at various meets with some of these top schools, trying to get their times up to par, up to standard, so that they can come at the big dance. So if it is something like that, I certainly agree with it.
Yeah, man.
But
Whatever works. Whatever works. Once everybody get a shot at it, I am good. Everybody don't have to dance on the same day, but ensure that they get that opportunity. So
yeah, yeah,
even if they're eliminated, and this,
come better
coach,
next year.
and coach, this is why we have a problem with parents moving their children from smaller schools for smaller teams to bigger teams, because the bigger teams are the teams that are getting the opportunity. So a parent who have their child at a small team school and they're getting an opportunity to go to one of these big school, I cannot knock them for taking that opportunity, because at the end of the day, is the person at the top of the food chain, is the person at the top that is going to get the first opportunity, sadly. So this too is why we have so many of our student athletes moving around from schools to school, because depending on which school you go, your opportunity is greater. And if we're saying people need to stay, we're encouraging children to stay at their school and they can become great by staying at their school. We must open the doors to them getting the same opportunity.
And you wonder, when athletes move from one school to one next and they become a world star, if that was a lot of pushback probably would have been in that decision. But at the end of the day, sometimes these moves pay off. Sometimes
Yes,
the
yeah.
contacts that the bigger school actually have, they can lead them towards scholarships once they're doing whatever they're supposed to do. So a lot of variables come in place. I do believe that we have very good coaches right across the island, and you also have coaches that are working vicariously and that are experimenting on the kids and sometimes causing problems with these kids. All right. And sometimes there's overworking too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
a whole lot of things happen. It is just that you have probably 3,000 athletes and probably 10, 20 get an opportunity. So not everybody that goes through the champ system, goes through the collegiate system, is going to go to be a professional athlete. It cannot happen. It will
correct,
not
correct,
happen. Not
correct.
every child that goes to Campion College ended up being a doctor. It is not
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 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 yeah. Alg 78 20 saying there are regional meets structured like what you're talking about. Gibson is not that meet. It's season opener and all relays. Algae, the thing is about a lot of the early season track meets before Gibson Relay, they don't have a relay structure. They don't really run relays. So what coach is saying is
They
that
could add it.
they could add it so that now teams can qualify for Gibson because you have quite a few meets before Gibson. You have the Jamaica College meet, you have the Calabar meet, you have Douglas Forest, you have the Grace Jackson meet. There's Excelsior meet also. So there are so many other meets. So maybe the
Fuller
stakeholders,
Anderson.
Fuller Anderson meet. So maybe what they need to start doing now, the stakeholders need to come together. If this is the format Gibson McCook is going to keep going forward, then they now need to have the conversation with the stakeholders and said, look, we want you to include relays in your meet so that teams can qualify based on that. And that will give everybody an opportunity because teams will now turn out to run the relays at these development meet so that they can get into the big dance, as coach said.
Or you could have it in such a way where the top three is guaranteed a spot in next year's format, and then the next five they will have to qualify from
Qualify.
time.
Yeah.
But then there could be another problem because Gibson is so close, and January is when people really get into the groove of trap meet. Will they be able to put it together like that to actually have these competition, put teams together? Well, I guess if they know it can happen. But I think that also poses a problem even in terms of coaching because you don't want to overstretch, especially if you have a fragile class one team, class two team, class three, and you're relying on them to score big points for you. You don't want to put them under pressure too early. So there, you see, it's not as easy as I just spoke it. So it takes a lot.
Or what they can do, coach, if you know that you want to qualify for the Gibson Relay, you take a team to one of these development meet. Don't do not put them in the individual events. Don't put them in a 100 or 400. Let them just go there and run relays because you can do that. You can do that. And I mean, we can almost treat it like the world relays where people teams are now qualified through the world relay, and the top 16 teams, of course, the top 14 teams from the relay automatically go, and then the other two teams based on ranking get in to make the top 16. So I like what you said, coach. I really really do like it. And I hope that instead of just choosing the top 8 teams from the year before, they can look at something like this because, as I said before, you do have emerging talents. Because I've been watching some track meet since the Jamaica College meet, and I'm seeing some things. New athletes emerging every day, and they're not all from the big schools. So it's just for
But
us to be creative and find a way to include them so that they can be discovered.
I agree with that. But I mean, they're getting an opportunity to these D meets. Is a really what they are going to do in terms of making that impact. Does their school have four other quality athletes that will go on a relay team? Because you might have a school with four or five, six good athletes, but they are in different classes. So that
True,
is
true.
also something to take into consideration. So if we're talking about inclusion and development, we probably shooting ourselves again because they are getting the opportunity in their individual event that they think it is, well, I believe it's first and foremost, and then the relay would be secondary. So if we're talking about inclusion, they're already having that format. Relay is just a byproduct of the talent, whether we agree or not. Because if you
I,
don't have the athlete doing well in an individual event, then how are you going to have a relay team with
No,
that
but
athlete?
you can. But you can in a coach. You remember the year at Gibson? Was it Gibson or Champs when Alphonsus Davis turn up and win? I think it was the medley. I think it was a two medley. Alphonsus Davis turn
Mm-hmm.
up at either Gibson or Champs and win. So this too can encourage schools, if you don't have the individual talent, encourage schools to build relay teams, just like what is happening in the senior rank now. Look at how many countries around the world at the senior level, they might not have the individual talent, but they surely are putting relay teams together. Look at Spain. Look at Spain. Look at the Netherlands. Look at Ireland. You know, those countries are building. When you look, everybody saying, okay, we can't win the individual, we're coming for the relay.
Yeah,
So on the flip side,
but first and foremost, they try for the individual,
sure, yeah. Mhm.
right? So that has to be at the forefront, and I get the point that you're making. I do understand it, but I like to look at all the sides of the coin. And sometimes we look on one side and the other side, but we leave the edges. And that is where I come about in looking at the edges because that is a part of the coin too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's more than, I think it takes a whole lot of minds who really love the sport, and those minds are innovative. They are not antiquated in, oh, this is how it is done and this is how it has been happening and it has to be done this way. Several, because even what I'm saying, if somebody else look at it and have a meeting and they sit down and have a conversation, what I say probably also might not make no sense or no sense in the given situation. So it's not about one person coming with
True,
an idea.
true.
It's a consortium of people put their thoughts and minds together to ensure that they, you know, try as best as possible to help in the continued development of the sport. Which,
But let me ask you something, some coach. As a coach, do you think if these cancellations continue and scale down of events, do you think this will widen the gaps between well-resourced programs and under-resourced programs? Meaning the big schools and the small teams that don't have the
how
lugs. You know. Will it widen the gap? Because there's already a gap, but will it now widen that gap?
I, I I think that gap has been closed in my eyes.
It is closing, but it's not yet level.
Base, it's not yet level because of resources, financial resources from the quote unquote traditional schools that, the old boys, old girls association really put hands and heart together to get the program running. But in terms of gap, what gap are you talking about? Because if the meets are scaled down, if they're cancelled, it's just that it's gonna be burdensome on another meet
All right.
because these athletes will still want to go to meet. So how explain it to me, break it down a
All
little bit.
right. So what I'm talking about is that let's say there. All right. As we know, there is already a gap between the schools with the resources and the
Hmm.
schools that are under resourced. So they don't have the money. They don't have the funding. They don't have the support. and all of that. So hence the gap. So some school will in this lifetime might never win champs. So what I'm saying is that will this widen the gap, meaning will people from these smaller schools start looking to move into these bigger schools and now widen the gap because they see where there's going to be a situation where my school might not be invited to something or a meet. For example, Gibson. If Gibson is going to keep this format, tell me why should I stay? I'm not going to call any school name, but why should I stay at my small school that don't even have one team at Gibson this year? Why shouldn't I look to go into? Why shouldn't I say to my mother, Mom, I think I want to be transferred to St. Jago or to Wolmer's or to Hydel or to Edwin Allen or something?
I get what you're saying, but to answer your question again, because there are rules and regulations in place, I don't think the gap is going to probably get any wider. The only thing it might hurt some of these athletes because they might go and warm the bench. And when the coach look back, oh, quota. When the coach say warm up HP, oh, quota. When the coach say sub HP, oh, quota. You understand? So I think the quota is in place to keep things as civil and as balanced as possible. It's not going to be 100% balanced because some of these schools possibly recruit to even weaken other teams, right? So it is a situation where the quota will definitely handle that sort of a question, because even if you move, you have to be very meticulous in your movement, because you might go to a school and you might have challenges and they're going to use another athlete that meets the quota that guarantees some points at champs. Remember, it's a points game at champs, you know.
So my question is, how do we keep these student athletes who are training day in, day out? How do we keep them interested in the sport and not walk away? How are we going to discover their talent now that it seems like we are scaling down?
I still not understanding the question, because if we're scaling down, it's not like school X is able to take their athletes alone at that meet, and school B, which is a smaller school, can't take their athletes at that meet. As I said before, it's more so the meet that is left up and running is gonna go under tremendous pressure. And that is how I look at it. A team might not decide to go to that meet because they might not have the events that I might be looking at. But because of the deficiency in a meet that was cancelled, the organizers of that meet might very well add an event, that was supposed to be at that meet that athletes are going to want to turn up for. So I don't see how the cancellation will really impact. Once there are meets, it will still happen. Now, if you look at resources now for the teams traveling further, that might be an issue where they have to be very smart and meticulous in the meets that they choose to go to. And even with the plethora of meets, you have schools that still actually do that. They are very selective in the meets that they attend. So I still not understanding clearly the question, HP, because the
No,
resources I don't think.
No, it's just a question, that is looking at big schools, small schools, or big team, small team, and every year we have talent, emerging and stuff, and the fact that we are this year. I don't know if, but by the way, do you think that this is just for 2026 season, or it might be an ongoing thing for a while?
It depending on how this goes, the organizers might probably add some heats to some of these races to let it be more competitive rather than just go to the teams that actually make the finals, So there might be a case where they keep the format. I don't know what is in the back of their heads or whoever the planners are, how they're going to do it. I guess they will use this meet to actually be a litmus test to see how they're going to go about, making adjustment, keeping the format, or relapse, revamp, and go back to the format that it was.
Um,
And I
as a
don't think
coach,
HP. Hold the question, but remember
sure,
the question you're gonna ask. Don't
yeah.
don't think that with the cancellation of meets, it will actually eliminate the work that the coaches are doing in terms of developing athletes. I think there's still gonna be. You know why? There are or there is a reservoir of talent on the island. No doubt about that. Remember, when we think about these athletes, right? And we said last year, quote unquote, it was Tina versus Brianna. And the year after it was Ashanti versus Kevona. Then you have the twins versus Alana or Serena versus Alana. Every year you're going to have a rivalry. That goes to show that this reservoir is always up and running. So I don't think it will really stop. It might over time, if it continues, cause people to probably be discouraged. Yes. And even how it is right now, people are discouraged. So I mean that is never
Yeah, a
going
lot of people are discouraged. Coaches and fans have I've had my phone ringing from some of these announcements were made, and I'm going to be honest with you on air. I am discouraged too. I am discouraged, and I'm looking at it from the athlete's perspective. I always try to look at it from the athlete's perspective. We know that the development needs is what help our athletes to get to the next level, which is to champs, and then of course from champs to the next level, which is to college, and then from there to the next level. So and when you look at a lot of our major star, when you look at some of Jamaica's most successful athletes at the highest level, they're not from the top schools. They are not from the top schools. When you look at a lot of them, they're from come out of some little schools, and doing well for Jamaica. So once the children get a fair opportunity or a fair chance, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want us to be stifling emerging challenge talents. But let me ask you this. This was my question from before. Do you think encouraging private sectors, governing bodies, alumni, and the diaspora to come together could help?
ask the question again.
Do you think that encouraging private sector, governing bodies, alumni, the diaspora to come together, do you think that could help where we are now? Because I know that a lot of our track meets is struggling financially.
That's a very good question and a hard question.
I think we can do it if we come together, but the organizers must be willing to do some of the work.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
have
I
to do
think
some of the work.
it takes hand and heart. It takes a village. But what if the village is not interested interested in growing the product? Because I tell you, track track and field fans are endangered species. Track and field fans are
Yeah.
little and few. You know what I mean?
The
So
diehard fans, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, you love track and field. That's why you're still engaged in these conversations. Some people just in it for the races, for the results, for the
Yeah,
Olympics, for the World Championship, for the World
yeah.
Relays.
Hmm.
So it is hard. I just hope that it will not happen like what you call it. Um a WIC. Maybe just leave it there. I'm not to pronounce.
Ooh, somebody said that to me yesterday that they feel like, and this was from a coach. The coach says, I feel like we are heading. I think coach maybe have a little problem there. The coach said to me that I feel like we are heading to where WIC is. No, if you don't know what WIC, I'm not going to tell you. You have to go and look that one up. But they feel like that's where track and field is heading in the region, and we have to come together and do something. We're a part of it. We're the fans, and we're not here bashing. We're just here asking questions that will affect us as the fans. It will affect the athletes. It will affect the product. You understand? Because if the fans are not coming out, and I tell people all the while that I don't know. It's like sometimes I wonder if we understand how important gate receipt revenue is. It should be a big part of your revenue. So the idea is to pull people into the arena, find a way to come up with something different and say, okay, a special prize for WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp groups will get special prices for the Gibson relay for the bleachers. You and
HP,
your group,
me I go put it to you. These are some brilliant ideas, but I'm putting it to you that Jamaican fans are wagonists. Jamaican fans only support when there is a
give
big
them a
name
reason.
athlete. And
Give them a reason.
I understand what you're saying,
Hype
but
them up. Hype them up.
listen to me. Them now come. This
We
might
don't know
so
that.
this might sound like I am being pessimistic, but being in
I
the sport for so long, mm-mm.
I am going to share something with you our before the 2008 Olympic Games, when we went to Beijing and practically put Beijing, the bird nest, under some serious fire. The company that I used to work with, and I'm not going to call the names of these meat, but the company that I used to work with, we used to sponsor a lot of these trap meets, some of the biggest trap meets in Jamaica. I used to be a part of it because I was the public relations person for the sports club and the events planning at my company. I got my company, the staff, to love track and field. So I used to reserve tickets for Gibson, for Champs, for Douglas Forest, for Invitational, everything. We used to sponsor all of these track meets. You see, after the rise of Bowl 2008, you see, by 2009, 2010, nobody wanted our money because our money was too little bit, because the big companies were now coming in and say, look, we want to sponsor and we're offering you this. So small companies like my company was pushed out. We could not even go there and give away a water bottle like what we used to do. Maybe when I say that, a lot of people will make the connection. But we were pushed out because our money never big enough. And guess what? Those big companies jump off the wagon. And I'm glad you said wagon is. Some of these big companies jump off the wagon is. And now some of these events are having problems getting sponsors. When you have loyal people in your corner, treat them with respect. Treat them like they are important. So you're right when you said we are wagonist and they maybe not gonna come, but do something different. At least people will
You
say, well,
tried.
you tried, but you can't be adding, you can't get up every day and add 4 plus 4 and expect to get 16. 4 plus 4 doesn't give you 16. 4 times 4 can give you 16, but we have to do something different. And we said this was going to be an hour. It's an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And but in closing though, if we don't address this now by uniting, where private sector, the government, the fans, the diaspora, the clubs, the schools, if we all if we don't come together, I can tell you that we're going to have a problem in another 5, 10 years. What would you change, coach, if you get an opportunity right now? What would you change today to ensure that the next generation of athletes still have a fair chance to succeed? I
There's
know it's a mouthful, I know.
yeah, so many things to change. Marketing, um, taking care of the junior athletes, um, try and get marketing will try and get sponsors on board, innovation to ensure that the product is not the same, because track and field, I tell you, can be very boring. So you have to have innovation, try new things, you know, um, intensify some of the things that you do. A whole lot of things. We can't even put out everything
Yeah.
right now, but there are a whole lot of things. And normally you wouldn't go for a wholesale change, but gradually you incrementally try and eliminate some antiquated stuff. You need fresh minds in the game. You need fresh thoughts, fresh input, and stuff like those. I respect the persons before, but trust me, because of the era that we're in, you need some young minds, and this is something for these folks that are in this position. You need some fresh thoughts in the thing. You need some young minds to help, even if you're not going to put them in positions, but keep them as a part of your sub team, sub committees, to ensure that they who are so engulfed in the sport give you ideas so you can improve the product, so you can help the product to become a better product. You understand? It's not always you doing it the same way. Try something new, man. You know what?
Yes.
I learned something in business while I was doing my internship, right? There was this gentleman. I went to his place to, do my internship. And the man said he started out selling X, but he realized that there are sometimes in certain season, X sales go down. So what he did, he innovate and get some products that is all year round. You gonna want that every single time of the year. Although he would make the product X his brand, so to speak. That is what people know him for or know the company for. But to keep the business afloat, when you have downtime, down period, you have the other products running. So these are some of the things that these gentle people can, integrate in the sport to ensure that the sport keep going. You know what I mean? So
Totally agree with you, coach. Totally agree with you on that. And my answer to my own question is I made sure to write down some stuff because I did not want to forget them. And one of them should be development focus. One, it should be development focus. And this is rebuilding and safeguarding the development path. This means consistent competition, which we have proper progression for youth to elite and international support at every stage. We cannot develop champions without a system for them to grow, to fail, to learn, and to compete. And a lot of people might say, yeah, but Jamaica produce a lot of top athletes and we don't have a system. But if you look at our top athletes, they all came out of a system. If you look at a lot of them, whether they train in Jamaica or they train abroad, they had a system behind them, hence the success. Another one is we must ensure fairness by reducing the gap between well resourced programs and under resourced ones. And of course, we spoke about that before. Every athlete, regardless of the school, the parish, or background, deserve the same chance to develop, compete, and be discovered. The third one is holistic athlete response. We must change how we support our athletes beyond the stopwatch. Let me say that again. We must change how we support our athletes beyond the stopwatch. We have to pay attention to their mental health, education, life skills, career planning. Success isn't just about medals, it is about preparing athletes to thrive during and after sport. The next one for me is we must stop treating development as an option. Let me say that again. We must stop treating development as an option. If we continue cutting competitions and support structures, we are quietly closing the doors. The next generation doesn't need motivational speech only, they need opportunities. Number 5 for me is Jamaica specific legacy response is very, very important to me. I am about the legacy. We must protect the pipeline that build Jamaica track and field legacy. Our success didn't happen by chance. It was built on opportunities, competition, and community. If we want the future to be as strong as the past and the present, we must invest now. We need to pay attention, and we need to pay attention now. Number 6, solution oriented closing. The biggest change I would make is to collaborate schools, clubs, sponsors, and administrators. They must work together, coach. When we stop working solo and working as a unit with purpose, the next generation and Jamaica will win. But we cannot win single-handedly. We have to come together. So despite what is going on this season, though, coach, despite everything that is going on this season, what are you looking forward to from the local market? And with that, we're going to wrap after that.
What am I looking for in terms of track and field, or in terms
Yes,
of for the kids or the
just for
product
the
itself?
2026, just for the 2026 season for Jamaica, the product itself, whether at the junior level, the senior level, just your expectations this season.
I mean, this year is gonna be one of those light years, so to speak, because of lack of a major championship. But there are some little meets or championship that will be coming up. I'm looking forward towards the under 20 championship because that is gonna tell us where our juniors are at. You know what I mean? The seniors, they have this year to just work on some things, tweak some things, and see how best they can catapult into next year. So I'm really looking forward to see the junior athletes, how they perform against the rest of the world junior athletes. I mean, not not many junior athletes go on to become world stars. You know what I mean? But I am looking forward to our junior athlete this year.
Yeah. Yep, I'm
So
looking
that
forward to that. Myself, I'm looking forward to Eugene. That's where it will be.
yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to, because as it is right now, we have a new crop of athletes coming into play, making their way into the senior rank. And I would love to see Jamaica send a strong team to the Commonwealth Games. I would love to see a lot of these young athletes roll out for the Commonwealth Games, and just to have some fun and have a good championship, and then come back and get ready for two big seasons, 2027 and 2020, and LA 2028, which will be in the United States, will be a big one. I hope I will be around to witness that myself. But I'd love to see our younger athletes who are in the wings. I would love to see all of them heading to the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, man, definitely. My subscribers, my viewers, I really appreciate you being here tonight. Just to listen to us have this conversation. I think it's a good conversation. When me and HB link up, we normally have some good conversations. We might not agree because we are two individuals. We share different
Right.
views, but you know that we're gonna be respectful. So big up yourself, my people. Thanks again. Definitely. I'm not guaranteeing you that I'll be doing a lot of lives because life happens. So
Yes, indeed.
um I normally have my lives on a Tuesday, but a Tuesday is really a bad day for me. So I just hope my people can forgive me. And if you have not yet subscribed to HP Chat Track, you can do so. She always have some very good interviews with different people in the sport, whether administrator, athletes, or coaches, anybody involved in the sport. She have the whole of the links, them people.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
All
And
right.
I too want to say thanks to everyone for turning out. There's so many of you, normally I call names, but you are so plenty. I am not able to call all the names tonight, and I don't want to leave out anyone. So thank you guys for being here. And as always, it is always a good hangout when I hang out with this gentleman. Very knowledgeable, very unbiased, and very objective, because at the end of the day, it is all about the sport, and it is all about Jamaica track and field legacy. And that's what we are about. So thank you all for being here. Have a great weekend, and thank you all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. That's something I don't say a lot because I get so involved in the conversation, I forget to tell people to subscribe, share, and like. So please show me some love. And again, happy new year and all the best for 2026. Thank you all very much. And coaches, there's Coach Minzy. Thank you very much for always coming to my rescue or just jumping on board. As I said earlier, it takes a village, it takes a community. Collaboration is where the world is heading. So thank you very much, sir, and have a good night. And remember, if you're on my platform and you have not yet subscribed to Coach's Desk, please to go and subscribe to Coach's Desk TV. He has a lot of excitement going on his side also. So have a great season, guys. It is all about Jamaica track and field legacy. Have a great weekend. And remember, show the athletes some love and be kind with your words. Be kind with your words. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right.
Have
Peace
a
out.
great night. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Good night. Good night. And good night.
Jamaica's track and field legacy is unmatched. It is a story of triumph, resilience, and extraordinary talent. But do you know the stories behind the athletes who brought us glory? Hi, I'm HP, founder of HP Chat Track. My mission is simple: to celebrate the rich legacy of Jamaica track and field and shine a light on the incredible people who make it happen. Winning that race was a dream come true, but the journey wasn't easy. It's not just about medals, it's about inspiring the next generation. Jamaica track and field isn't just a sport, it's our pride, our culture, our heart. Every week I sit down with athletes, coaches and fans to bring you stories of dedication, passion and legacy. Plus, we've got exciting news and exclusive insights into the world of track and field. Make your Thursday night be at HP's place. Come hang out with us at HP Chat Track Studio, where track and field is our business. Jamaica,